Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is members night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton. Guzman Finance, Point Cook's professional and trusted mortgage broker. Using the latest technology powered by Australian Finance Group, their lender panel has over 30 institutions, including the major banks. Andreas, the director at Guzman Finance, is an ethical and experienced mortgage broker and has helped hundreds of customers navigate the competitive and ever-changing mortgage landscape to find the right loan for them. The company's values are grounded in the principles of integrity and reliability. For you, this means ethical, responsible lending from a family business you can trust. Whether you're in the market for your first home, refinancing, renovating, or buying an investment property, they have access to hundreds of loans from a host of Australia's leading lenders. Guzman Finance will do the hard work for you to make sure you get the right loan for your circumstances. They manage the process from start to finish. Contact Andreas on 0425 826 055 or visit their website at guzmanfinance.smartonline.com.au.
Good evening and a very warm welcome, literally, to the Football Outwear Show. It is going to be a hot one tonight, and I'm not just talking about the weather. I'm talking about what we have got in store for you, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 51 of our now iconic weekly program. Now, my name is Tonci Prusac, and I'm one of your co-hosts for tonight. Joining me now, as he does every week, week in, week out, the man, the legend, the one that is simply known as Craig Filer. How are you, Craig? What is going on? Great to have you on board.
Good evening, Tonci. Good evening, listeners. Hope everybody's well. What a fantastic day today, and what a fantastic weekend to look forward to. Live competitive football back with us after 560 days, eh?
Cannot wait. I tell you what, absolutely cannot wait. It's going to be an absolute rip snorter of a weekend. I'm not talking about the weather, and when we're in Victoria, we often always talk about the weather. I'm talking about how good. Look, tonight's show is going to be first and foremost because we're going to be previewing a weekend of football unlike any other. And mate, I tell you what, it's so big a show. Put it this way, that me and you. You know, we've got very broad shoulders, but we are unable to carry the weight of the world. We've actually had to draft in a third member of the military, and he's joining us in Steve Curtin, our favourite co-host when one of us can't make it. Steve, what a pleasure to have you on board. How are you, mate?
Thanks, Tonci. I'm going to have to start paying you for all these compliments lately on the Geelong show on Monday and on our commentary last Saturday night, and again tonight. We're Don't know. We got a challenge for Brenton Ray for the personal hype man duties, but no, good to be here. Good to be here. Very exciting, and what an exciting weekend! It's hard to believe it's all here this weekend. Starting tonight, there's some great football to get out and see. And we're going to talk all about it tonight. So, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. Thank you. It's been a long time since I spoke to you, certainly on this show, but we were lucky enough to share the platform last weekend at a very enjoyable MPL game, which we'll touch on later on. But yeah, all good, mate. Looking forward to competitive football again, Steve. It's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of frustrations from everybody, but thankfully we're back on the park this weekend, and I, for one, cannot wait.
Now, Craig, you've been very, very busy. So busy that half of Melbourne is just either eagerly awaiting your phone call or dreading the phone call from you, because you've been busy getting no less than 6 guests for tonight. Mate, tell us who is on the show tonight.
Well, we might have got 6 guests. Whether our technical gurus work or not, Tonci, we'll see. We've gone through a little bit of a trial this afternoon to try and get it, and fingers crossed, everything will work. But yeah, we've got a fantastic show lined up for what's going to be.
Let me just cut you off. There is a thing called human error, and then there is a thing called filer error. So let's just bear that in mind if there are technical guru issues tonight. Sorry, Craig. Sorry to cut you off so much.
No, you're fine.
Again, I think you'll get 7 guests tonight.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Or one. It'll be one or the other.
Yeah,
it'll be one or the other. But look, we've got a great show. I mean, it's
Yep.
I suppose we're going to start as we mean to go on for the season. I don't think we'll have as many people as we have got on there tonight, but certainly the Friday night show now will be known as the preview show, where we'll be looking at all the fixtures, certainly the key fixtures right throughout Football Victoria. That's from MPL through to State League football, through to WMPL, A-League. So it's a really good time to have it. Friday night, everybody's at home, everybody's getting ready for the games on the weekend, and we've got, as you said, Tonci, no less than 6 guests on tonight, starting with Frank Petrocca, who's the head coach down at Werribee City in NPL 2. I think Frank's been there. We'll find out later on, but I think Frank's been there for 2 years and hasn't kicked a football yet. So it'll be interesting to get his take on it. We've got a guest from Western United in Vaughan Coveney, who's the under-21s head coach.
This will be an interesting interview conversation. The inaugural Western United under-21s team. Yeah, we have him coming on. We're going to cross over to Mr. Chris Gleeson from the Football Federation commentary team, who's going to be live at Knight Stadium for the big game between Melbourne Knights and Hume City. Well, that should be good. Now, Steve, the last time you had you on the program, we crossed over to Port Melbourne. We had Bryce Ruthven of maths fame, but we also had Ed Gooden jump in, sabotage the I wonder if we're going to have anyone else. Who's Chris's assistant tonight?
I know Chris is joined by Josip Herzog tonight, so perhaps Josip can jump in and impart some of his knowledge. But I think Chris has got big shoes to fill there after Bryce Ruthven last time being the reality TV show that he is. I wonder what show we could get Chris to appear on later in the year, perhaps.
Yeah,
Craig.
Love Island.
Love Island.
There we go. We'll bring that up with him.
We'll put that to him when he comes on.
Absolutely.
Craig, and that's just one half of the guests tonight. Who else we got?
We got Yarraville Glory's head coach Paul Donnelly. He's going to be coming up and talking about everything Yarraville. We've got Rocco Giovanelli from Hoppers Crossing.
How do you pronounce that again?
Rocco Giovanelli. Vanello.
Like a native.
I'm fluent in crap, me. So we've got he's coming on. There's some news obviously out of Hoppers Crossing with Sean Barbera going to be out for a while. So Rocco's actually come from the aforementioned Yarraville Glory as the assistant coach, and I'm sure Rocco will fill us in on that. And then we cross over live to Langama Park in Sunbury, Tonci, where Sunbury United are preparing for the first league game of the season under new lights at their new Langama ground, where they take on Essendon United this evening with an 8:30 kickoff.
Fantastic. Gents, we're going to go straight into the news desk, but we've really hardly even got time for that. But let's quickly go through some of the fixtures. Steve, there we go. We've got the NPL 1 fixtures up. Let's go through them.
All right, so first up, we've got the 7:30 kickoff tonight down at Summers Street there at Knight Stadium. It's a really big match, a blockbuster Friday.
Yeah, hello?
You cut his sound off, I think, Tonci.
Oh, no. It's,
hit form last week with James Brown at the double to ensure they got the win at home in wet conditions over Dandenong City. Now, a bit of a friendly derby. I think this is one that's known as Port Melbourne Sharks hosting South Melbourne, who'll make the short trip down to JL Murphy. That's always interesting to see how that one plays out. Sometimes you do see players moving between the two clubs there. Another one that I'm excited about, Green Gully, top of the league. They're in good form. They're without Jay Davies tonight, who plays the key role in midfield. And they're against Heidelberg United side that, they proved us wrong last week, coming back with 10 men and getting the point against that cashed-up Altona side. So a good effort to come back there by Heidelberg against the odds. And the other match tonight happening at Kingston Heath.
This should be a good one.
Southeast side, we see St Albans Saints, 2 wins on the bounce for them. They're travelling to Kingston Heath to face Bentley, and really excited to see how that one.
We keep getting Steve cutting out, unfortunately. He sort of seems to freeze. Craig, that should be a real interesting game.
As they did last year, maybe even more so. So, sorry, Tonci, over to you.
Yeah, no, we're getting some sort of a cut. Your sound is cutting. Your audio is cutting from time to time, Steve, but nonetheless.
It's not me.
Back. No, it's not you. It's not.
Hey,
it's not the Filer era this time. No, Bentley Green, St Albans Saints. Craig, St Albans have been They've been a fantastic surprise packet this year. They've won 2 out of their 3 games when we all thought that they were going to really struggle. We had St Albans football director Jason Sherry early on in the first show, and he did say, look, they're expecting a real tough year, but they've been one of the surprise packets. Bentley Green's always somewhere up near the top, so that should be a top game, Craig.
Yeah, look, I see the Albans were fantastic last weekend against who did they play last weekend? I forget who they played.
Knights.
Yeah, of course, Knights. Yeah, and they were superb. They really, took it to them right from the whistle. Knights got into the game halfway through, but then, in the last 25 minutes, it was all St Albans, and I think they got the deserved win. And you're right, they are the surprise package. But if you remember going back 2 seasons when we had football, they were sitting right up there at the top of the league after 4 or 5 games. So is it a surprise? Culture's everything. Players playing for pride is something, and it's certainly paying dividends early on for St Albans.
Yeah. So we've got any other results as well? I think have I just accidentally taken the those results that we the fixtures? Sorry,
we've got some more fixtures to put up as well. Yeah. So those other ones also tonight at 8:30, Dandenong City, they're hosting Avondale. Avondale haven't had the start to the season that they expect with their high standards, but Dandenong City, they're sort of rooted to the bottom of the league along with their local rival, the Thunder. So both of those teams really need to get up and running tonight. And for a lot of people, the game of the round is that one tomorrow, Altona Magic and Oakley Cannons. That's scheduled for 8 o'clock there at Paisley Park. So Altona having a run of home games at the moment, but they need to translate some of those fixtures into 3 points, and they'll need to do that tomorrow, I think, against Oakley Cannons. Very interesting to see how that one plays out. It'd be really hard to do tipping for these ones. I'm glad I haven't got to decide.
It'll be really interesting to see how they come out this week, Steve, after last week's what I would class as a poor performance from them. Being a man up for 47 minutes of the game and not being able to capitalise on it. And back in commentary that I said that it only takes, having seen North Geelong play in the afternoon, they were 2-0 down in the wet conditions. It only takes one mistake or one slip up from a defender or an opportunity, and they're back in the game. And that's exactly what happened with Heidelberg last week. So it'll be really interesting to see what they've done on the park this week through training, and how they'll come out against a very, very good Oakley Cannon side.
Last but not least, gents, Eastern Lions taking on Dandenong Thunder, the big Eastern Suburbs derby at 3 o'clock there at Gardeners Creek Reserve. Steve, your take on this game?
Eastern Lions have really surprised me lately with their results. They weren't tipped to do super well, but I don't know, perhaps they've just been inspired over the last couple of weeks doing
Geelong West Way.
Doing it for Jimmy Williams. So they might, who knows, at home, they might get the business done over the Thunder.
Yeah, good on Daniel Costa as well. Costi, who's a head coach, taken over from Jimmy, who was his assistant, who's a top lad, and great to see him getting in the team of the week as well as the head coach of the team of the week in the NPL. So well done, Dan.
Craig, well, we got you there. Let's now turn our attention to the A-League. They're the A-League fixtures, and that's all being kicked off tonight. It's almost like the A-League's become a bit irrelevant now with the NPL and the community football starting, but it all kicks off tonight with Western Sydney Wanderers and Perth Glory. But I guess for Victorian fans, all the action is tomorrow with the big Macarthur versus Western United game, followed by Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory. Thoughts?
Yeah, so the Macarthur Western is a really interesting tie there. Two of the newcomers, I suppose, into the league. Western United certainly haven't had the start that everybody anticipated they were going to be, given the players that they have at their disposal. I think what it does outline to me is how critical Diamante is to that squad, and when he's not playing, how more difficult the task becomes for him. And it's really hard to say that you have to rely on one person and one person doesn't make a team. But the guy is such a magician that it really does make a difference to how they play. And you saw when he came on last week for a small time that he made a very, very big difference very, very quickly.
Yeah. Steve, let's turn our attention very quickly to the Big Blue, Sydney FC versus Melbourne Victory. That's the second game of tomorrow's. Well, it's not really a double-header, but it kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah, we can call it a double-header, mate. Certainly for those of us sitting at home, tuning into these games, they will run one after another. So, yeah, there's plenty to get excited about. Very wet weather forecast for Sydney tomorrow, so we'll see.
Breaking news, Brenton Ray. Look at that, the Ray man. Two games are under serious question marks as it currently stands at both Campbelltown Stadium and Netstrata Jubilee Stadium. Given reports out of Sydney of what you just said, Steve Curtin, flooding rains forecast tonight and all weekend. Brenton Ray, you are a legend. There you go. So those two games may well not be happening this weekend. What a shame.
Oh, well, look, hopefully they go ahead. I'm got a bit of quiet time this weekend, fortunately, and hopefully we can enjoy those ones from home. Tomorrow night would be really good, actually. You know, they're not cancelled, would be good. But we saw last week with that match up at Central Coast against Perth, that was sort of, you know, like the old days of the ball just stops dead in the penalty area with that much water on the pitch, like your junior days on those pitches with no drainage.
Love those days. All right, quickly, guys, let's move over. Viewers can see those the rest of those fixtures. We're really running out of time. We're already behind the eight ball. All I'm going to say now is for all those Dinamo Zagreb fans, and especially Maxi Santic, look at the scores there of the games played overnight. Arsenal progressing through against Olympiacos. Granada defeating Molde on aggregate. Villarreal over Dinamo Kiev. Man United, for all you Man United fans, over Milan. Ajax over Young Boys. Slavia Praha over Rangers.
Aren't they doing well?
Geez, Craig, what about that tackle? Do you want to make a comment about that tackle?
Yeah, look, I watched the game because I hadn't seen it, and I was listening to a couple of radio shows from the UK earlier on, and they were up in arms about it. So I watched it this afternoon. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, get on Opta Sports and just have a look at the challenge that the striker made. He'd only been on the pitch 2 minutes. It takes me back to the 1982 World Cup. I think it was 1982 where the German goalkeeper came out and flattened the France centre forward. It's one of the worst tackles I think I've ever seen, and I'm hoping that the UEFA or whoever it is that deals with that come down on like a ton of bricks and ban him from playing football for a long period of time, because there's no place for that in football.
Oh, absolutely. Roma defeating Shakhtar Donetsk 2-1 or 5-1 on aggregate. And the next result is dedicated to all of those St. Albans Dinamo fans. Dinamo Zagreb 3, Tottenham 0, and an aggregate win of 3-2. And Maxi Santic sends in a comment, one of our loyal viewers here on this on the Football Out West show. Never ever count out Dinamo, football matches go for 90 minutes. So does Dinamo Ajde Dinamo, or that means go Dinamo. Now, I don't know if he's referring to Dinamo Zagreb or St. Albans Dinamo, but Steve, you'd have to think that result would provide a hell of a lot of inspiration to members of St. Albans in their game against Bentley Greens tonight.
Oh, it has to. I think Knights Stadium will be pumping too tonight. I'm sure a lot of Dinamo Zagreb fans are also Melbourne Knights fans as well. So, interestingly, the manager there, Zoran Mamic, quit before being handed a prison sentence not long before that game.
Yeah.
And a new manager had to step in. Damir Krasnar had to step in. And, well, he's got a good record so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a good chance of getting that job, hasn't he? Yeah.
Jeez, I wouldn't hold my breath, though, but anything's possible.
Hey, but let's just talk about Tottenham for a second. They've lost. Yeah. They've had a 2-0 win at home and gone away 3-0. Again, I watched that game. I have to say, I think Mourinho's absolutely lost the plot. I think the game's passed him by. I think he was very good 10 years ago, but I just think football's totally passed him by now. For him to go away and try and park the bus and expect to come out of somewhere like Zagreb with a result, it's dodged him with death, and I think there's going to be some repercussions there. From Tottenham.
Absolutely. But think about the striker Mislav Orsic, who scored a hat trick. His price must have gone up. Now, Steve, you know your A-League pretty well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's actually come to Australia, and I think he played for one of the Korean sides. It was in the Asian Champions League. Now, I know he definitely
put him on the spot. Look at him now.
Yeah. He had a stint. Now, I'm not sure if he played against Melbourne Victory in Melbourne or Adelaide United in Adelaide, but I'm almost, if someone knows out there, do let us in on it. I'm almost certain that guy came to Australia, and I just think to myself, did we even think for 1 minute you'd have this player playing in front of you that one day would go on to play in the European Euro, not the Champions League, the Europa League. Yeah. So if anyone out there knows...
No, Tonci, he has played for Jeonnam Dragons, and I think that was the club that he represented in Australia in the Asian Champions League. I remember seeing him live at Amy Park for it.
There you go. See,
I might be wrong, but I think that's right. He's already 28 years of age, so he's not you wouldn't call him a youngster anymore, but he's versatile attacker that can play out wide and through the middle, and 3 goals against Tottenham is nothing to be sneezed at.
Absolutely. A name to keep your eye on. Now, gents, we're going to take a little bit of a break. I guess when we return, we're going to do the first of our profiles, or our previews, if you like. So I'll let you, Craig, step away from the microphone. Steve's going to go get a drink. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. When we come back, it's the first of our previews. We're going to be looking at NPL 2. Don't go away.
Guzman Finance, Point Cook's professional and trusted mortgage broker. Using the latest technology powered by Australian Finance Group, their lender panel has over 30 institutions, including the major banks. Andreas, the director at Guzman Finance, is an ethical and experienced mortgage broker and has helped hundreds of customers navigate the competitive and ever-changing mortgage landscape to find the right loan for them. The company's values are grounded in the principles of integrity and reliability. For you, this means ethical, responsible lending from a family business you can trust. Whether you're in the market for your first home, refinancing, renovating, or buying an investment property, they have access to hundreds of loans from a host of Australia's leading lenders. Guzman Finance will do the hard work for you to make sure you get the right loan for your circumstances. They manage the process from start to finish. Contact Andreas on 0425 826 055 or visit their website at guzmanfinance.smartonline.com.au.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It is episode 51, a huge acknowledgement and thanks to our episode sponsor, Guzman Finance, Andreas Guzman. He is your mortgage broker, the man you need to consult. His number there is on the screen, 0425 826 055. And also a big shout out to everyone at the George Cross Football Club, our major sponsor for season 2021, home of the Georgies on Vista. Gents, first of all, Steve, over to you. Let's go through with all the fixtures. So it's NPL 2 time. Let's have a look at the NPL 2 fixtures.
Yeah, thanks, Tonci, and very excited to see the NPL2 boys going around again at long last, and it's going to kick off tonight at CB Smith Reserve there in Fawkner, where Pascoe Vale will host Moreland City in a local derby there. So I'm sure there's going to be a big crowd there watching Pascoe Vale, who've retained some reasonable players from their relegated 2019 NPL1 side. And then tomorrow, Brunswick City hosting Moreland Zebras. That's at Dunstan Reserve. Also at 3 o'clock, Lang Warren versus Manningham United. That's an eastern suburbs fixture there for you, for those of you who are on the other side of Melbourne. Up at Shepparton, Goulburn Valley Suns. They're hosting Bulleen Lions. And also the other 5 o'clock game, North Geelong Warriors versus Northcote City at Alco Park. And then in true Kingston City style, they're hosting a Monday night match, and that's against Werribee City at the Grange Reserve, not the one at Hoppers, that's the one at Kingston. And that is live streamed by Football Victoria on the Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you tune into that one on Monday night. It's going to be an exciting match, and we're going to see one of our good local clubs, Werribee City, in action.
Craig, it's like the A-League, isn't it? They're playing over multiple nights, if you like. But it is the first time that we've got the unified NPL2, so to speak. So for those that you don't remember, 2 years ago we had the East Division and the West Division. This year it's a unified 12-team competition. Mate, it's the best versus the best. What are you expecting?
No, absolutely, Tonci. It's going to be a tough league for sure. You've got the best of the best, as you said, from East and West from 2 seasons ago. So there's a lot of expectation from all teams, I would imagine, in that league to perform. And we're very lucky enough to have none other than Frank Patrica, who's the head coach at Werribee City. Good evening,
Let's bring Frank on. Is he there? Hello, Frank. The filer error.
This is the exciting bit where it's all the acid test.
Hello, Frank. Is this where we apply CPR? Hello?
There should be no reason why you can't hear him, guys.
Hello, Frank. Do you press that button?
No, it's working. It's on, guys. It's there.
Volume, is the volume up?
Yeah.
He's not muted? The errors we often find, unfortunately, when we do the dry run, everything works out really, really well, and then when we come live, unfortunately, doesn't seem to work. Steve, let's go very, very quickly. Who are you tipping to win? Let's just go very quickly from top to bottom, from the Pascoe Vale versus Moreland City clash. Who do you think will win these games?
I'm going to go for Pascoe Vale to get over the line tonight, and I think Moreland Zebras on the road tomorrow. They'll get the win there. I'm going to go for Lang Warren, Bulleen on the road to get the win, North Geelong to get a home win, and I'm going to say Werribee on the road to get a famous win at the Grange on Monday night.
Was that a sort of a zigzag, home away, home away, home away, home away? It almost sounds like it was kind of like you decided to go crisscross, but that's interesting. Yeah,
awesome, it's not the combination for my security lock or anything for my bike, but I've gone no draws there as well. So if that pleases you as well, that's also a good thing too. Who do you see doing well this season, Tonci, in NPL2 Victoria? Yeah,
it's going to be a tough one. I think Werribee City, I'm really interested if we can get Frank on to see what he was like. North Geelong, Kingston City played an epic FFA Cup game last week where North Geelong was down 2-0 and then they came back to make it 3-2. So showed a lot of character. That'll be interesting. They have got a very young side, so it'll be interesting to see the fact that young players often breed inconsistency, whether they can maintain that consistency. Look, the clubs like Northcote City, Bulleen Lions, Kingston City, all these clubs, Pascoe Vale, clubs that have experienced NPL1, they're all going to be tough. I'm tipping North Geelong to do quite well. And look, I think Werribee City, I think they're going to be a good tough side, but Pascoe Vale, Northcote, Bulleen, can't discount any of those. Craig, have we got Frank on the line? Hello? No, we haven't even got Craig. No luck? What is going on? Not only have the gremlins not...
Frank,
can you hear us? Hello, Frank.
I think this is contagious, Tonci. It's gone from Frank, now Craig's got it. We could be next.
No. This is more contagious than the coronavirus. He's back.
He's back.
He's recovered.
It's ridiculous. This, honestly, it does my head in.
Okay, mate.
Frank is on the line. I can hear him perfectly.
Can you describe what Frank has to say if he's got a message for us?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the phone down on him. I'm going to call him back, and we're going to get him on as quick as we can.
All right, sounds good. All right. In the meantime, let's go. Let's once again show those fixtures up there. So one last time, we spent a lot of time on NPL 2. Steve, your thoughts about the unified format? Like, obviously, it was the top 5 from the East Division, the top 5 from the West Division, the 2 relegated teams as well. That makes up NPL 2. And then obviously you've got the remainder in NPL 3 plus the 4 newly promoted teams. We'll talk about NPL 3 in a sec, but let's turn our attention to NPL 2. Mate, how much of a difference is this going to make to the actual standard or the standard of the teams, especially those that get promoted into NPL next year?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Tonci, and that's what exactly I'm thinking is that the teams that are promoted from the NPL 2 now, that it's a single league and not a split conference system, I think those teams going up will stand a much better chance when they go up to the NPL 1 the following season, given that they're going to be in a much harder league. They're going to earn their promotion, and they're going to need pretty good squads to get out of that NPL 2 league. One of the teams I'm interested in seeing how they go is Moreland Zebras. They've recruited some pretty big names, including Dario Vidicic, which is an interesting one, and they brought in some other players. They got a pretty good list, including Hodor, Watson, Barker Daesh. Pretty handy team. Looks like they've recruited very, very well in the off season. So
they could be a dark horse.
I think that they could even be a hot favourite, even, Tonci.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong there. Craig, have we had any luck with Frank from Werribee City?
Well, he can hear you. I can hear you, but you can't hear him, can you?
That's correct.
Correct. Yep. Not to worry. It looks like we might have to pass that. We're going to have Vaughan Coveney very, very shortly. He'll be talking to us about the NPL 3. So maybe, Craig, we'll get you to step away from the microphone, and we'll try and get Vaughan Coveney on. He's from Western United. He's got an interesting gig, mate. He'll be taking up the helm of the Western United under-21s team. So he'll be really interesting. So, Craig, we'll get you to step away from the microphone and organise our next guest. Better luck with him.
Okay. All good.
All right. So Craig's stepped away. We can still see him, but he's been muted. Now, if we go onto the NPL 3 fixtures, we'll bring them up very, very shortly. Steve, go for your life. Who's playing who in NPL 3?
All right, so we're going to start with this blockbuster game tonight at the BT Connor Reserve that's been upgraded and looking a picture these days. Preston Lions, they're hosting Melbourne City. In that one, the Melbourne City Younger Brigade. At 8:30 tonight, Springvale White Eagles versus Melbourne Victory at the Serbian Sports Centre. And I've got a feeling that Brent and Ray might have given us a fixture update on that particular one in the comments. We'll come back to that. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Whittlesea Rangers versus Doveton, that match at Epping Stadium. At 5:30 at Stead Park, big fixture. Geelong Soccer Club versus North Sunshine Eagles. And 2 games on Sunday where Ballarat City will host Nunawading at Moorshead Park. And the debut in the NPL setup of Western United against Box Hill at Wembley Park. That match will be at 3:15. And again, if you're at home because you can't get across to Wembley Park over there in Box Hill, that match will be live streamed also by Football Victoria. So you can enjoy that one from the comfort of your armchair at home and watch the next crop of youngsters in green and black going around against Box Hill United. So a lot to get excited about there with, again, as you said earlier, Tonci, fixtures spread over this one in over 3 days, 2 on each. And yeah, a lot of exciting contests going on. Interested to see Geelong against North Sunshine Eagles tomorrow night at 5:30 at Stead Park. That should be an interesting battle, that one.
Should be a big crowd, that, and cannot wait for that. Now, we're going to bring on, we've had a lot more luck with the next gentleman. Craig, you've sort of had a couple of issues technologically, but this one is done quite well. So do you want to give us the name of our next guest, or introduce our next guest?
I certainly will. Hopefully we'll get the Gremlins back for the next guest. But sitting in the green room, we have ex-pro, ex-New Zealand, full-time soccer player, and now the head of the under-21s at Western United, Mr. Vaughan Coveney. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, fellas.
Vaughan, a very, very great pleasure to have you on. This is exciting times, but mate, firstly, thank you for joining us, and it's great to have football back.
Very excited. At Western United, obviously, with the 2 new teams coming in this year in the NPL 3, we can't wait to get started on Sunday. So players are really looking forward to it.
Now, Vaughan, Steve Curtin here. Thanks for your time tonight, mate. How tough was it to select that squad for your NPL 3 with so much interest, I understand, coming in from players, and even players such as Adisu Bayo, who was playing NPL 1 for Green Gully, who's now looks like he's been promoted to the senior setup there. But how tough was it to select that group of players?
Yeah, it was. It was difficult. You know, I came in late towards the end of the trial process, but from what I gather is it was an open trial. There were hundreds of players that applied, which was great from the western suburbs. So we had to filter those out, and I came in towards the end of it with about 50 players to go. So in terms of the scouting and the recruitment, it probably wasn't ideal, but we believe we've got a good crop of young players that we can hopefully improve this year, and who knows for the following year.
Craig, over to you.
Yeah, no. Obviously, one of the players that you do have, and unfortunately, we couldn't speak to Frank at Werribee City, but one of the players that you do have is a young lad that I know very well in Charlie Emery. He's obviously been involved in the NPL 20, the NPL 21 squad. But due to unfortunate circumstances the other week with Philippe Curto, he got his opportunity to step up to the seniors and be part of that senior trip. Early on, that must be a fantastic feeling for the young lad.
Oh, definitely. Like Charlie's, he's such a nice guy. He's been training with the A-League squad, as well for over a couple of months now, and they really think highly of him over there on that side. And I'm not surprised that he got an opportunity, and sitting on the bench, what a fantastic experience, even for a young keeper, and even working with those type of professionals as well. It just working with those type of players, it just instills professionalism, and it wants you to be a better player. So I think he'll only go on to bigger and better things. So hopefully he has a strong NPL season with the senior setup, and he proves himself at that level.
Now, Vaughan, you're a proven developer of young talent in your past coaching gigs, I guess, and I guess that's probably been one of the big reasons why you've been appointed to the helm of the under-21s. But like last year was a missed year with the COVID and what you're not. So a lot of these young players have had a whole year of their football development escape them, and they'll never get that back. Is there, and you as a coach, how do you go about now trying to rein their enthusiasm, trying to get them to try and catch up on lost ground at the risk of, injuring themselves or pushing themselves a bit too hard, and not losing sight of that long-term vision for their development?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Probably about six questions in one, but
we have found, to be honest, the 12 months have harmed some players. And some players have plateaued and maybe gone backwards in that time. So, to get them back up to speed, it's been a gradual climb, and we've had to be patient with them, and we've had our own injury issues as well. So, it's been difficult, the pre-season, and we just, like I said, come round one, I mean, we're prepared, but it's going to take us a while to get going, I think. And I think most teams as well, you'll see, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get back into that routine of 90 minutes, week in and week out, and getting that match fitness up. But it's a great point that you make. It has. I think it has affected some players, but the players that we've got at Western United, they're very driven. They're great characters, got a great attitude, and they're always willing to work and want to get better. So that for me as a coach, I think it's great because every session that I put on, we want to make them better.
Just one question before, because I know Steve wants to ask you a question, but just on that and something that Tonci said then, that there's been, a long time without any competitive football as such. Are you finding, and not with your role at Western United, that there's a number of soft tissue type injuries where because they're not used to, they haven't played in perhaps as competitive, the training would be a lot higher than it has been at their probably local club previously. So are you finding that there's a lot of soft, because I'm seeing, certainly in my club, there's a lot of players that come down pretty easily with some soft tissue stuff, or whether they're just soft. One of them.
Yeah, look, we've had some soft tissue injuries, and we've had other injuries to go along with it as well. It just comes out of matches, and but yeah, we've had to manage the players and manage the load as well, because we've been training 4 times a week in the morning, so it's tough on the body, but we just limit the minutes sometimes, and limit the sets that we're doing. But the intensity is still high. But we're trying to manage their bodies the best we can, and like I said, we hope to get them through the season, unscathed.
Vaughan, just one quick last one from myself. Is the team and Ante Moric and yourself in the coaching setup, is the focus really to replicate what Mark Rudan is doing with the first team in culture, in attitude, and even in formation, even playing that 3-4-2-1 sort of system that he likes to play? Yeah. Is the idea to replicate all of those things down to a T, and then if players do go up, they can seamlessly, or as seamlessly as possible, translate that into the first team?
Yeah, generally yes. With Ante Moric being with the first team, a lot of the principles that are with the first team, and those sorts of things like togetherness and all that sort of thing, it filters down to us. The formations, well, depending really on the players that we have, it's not, cut and thrust. It must be, 3-5-2 or whatever it is, or 4-4-2, whatever system they play. We like to, obviously we want to teach the players different formations on how to play, and it's not just a structured, a system. And also, it also depends probably at this age as well. It's a performance phase where you need to recognise what the opposition is doing as well, and sometimes counter that. So, we may need to change halfway through the game. So we want to try to give them, different tools to be able to do that throughout the game.
Very good. It's fascinating how it will go against more senior, older players, I suppose, as well. So I can't wait to see it all in action as of this Sunday.
But just on that, Vaughan, what is the age of the 21 squad? Obviously, having been involved at Melbourne City for a little bit, that was a very young squad, 15, 16, 17. Is it much the same at Western United?
Yeah. Our senior team, our senior MPL, they're 18, 19. Around that age, and then down in my squad it's 16, 17, 18. So my group's particularly young, but we see a lot of potential in them, so we're going to work with them. If it's not 6 months, 12 months, as long as we see improvement and the performances are good, obviously we want to win as well at the same time, but we want to make them better and get them closer to the A-League as best we can. And now, playing 22 games is probably not ideal with, through a season. We know all about this youth development. So, we're going to be, obviously challenging them, being mindful of the, their bodies as well. But we want to get as many games as we can into them.
And that what you just said then about obviously developing them over a period of time, is it the goal to keep the players at the club for a number of years and have that process? Because you see so many players going into certain environments and they're there for 6 months. Maybe they're not good enough, but there has to be a pathway for these guys. They're not all gonna be Alessandro Diamantis after 6 months. So there's a development process within that. So is that the plan for the club?
Yeah, it is. Look, I mean, I didn't, even myself, I didn't start playing even National Soccer League here till I was about 20 anyway. So, I still think they're young enough. Sometimes we expect a lot from our young players, but they need to develop and become young men. And it takes time. And, as a youth development coach, you've got to be patient with these players. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to develop a player. And, we'll be patient with them. They'll be challenged along the way. But that's all part of being, a professional sportsman. It's, the challenges are there with the players and we test them. So, some come along for the ride and then others, they drop off. So, but that's just part of being an elite player.
Vaughan, fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to have to unfortunately leave it at that. But wishing you all the very best and to everyone there at the Western United. I know it's always tough starting a team from scratch, but it's also exciting at the same time. So no doubt if they had any person to pick, Vaughan Coveney is the ideal candidate for that. So we're going to wish you all the very best for the year ahead.
Thank you, guys. My pleasure.
Good on you.
All the best.
Thanks, Vaughan.
That was Vaughan Coveney, the coach of Western United. Now, gents, we're going to cross live over to Knight Stadium because we've got the man, the legend, maybe possibly even the future reality TV star if he's going to follow in the footsteps of Bryce Ruthven.
Love Island.
Love Island. Chris Gleeson on the line from Knight Stadium. Chris, a very warm welcome to you. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, mate. It's a perfect night here at Knight Stadium, a beautiful Melbourne day, and just quietly had a bit of a Croatian beer before the kickoff and a Shavapi, and I'm ready to go.
Now, the energy down there after Dinamo Zagreb's the triumph over Tottenham must be absolutely palpable. Will that translate with the Knights players on the park and the supporters off the park?
Oh, it definitely was. You've seen that happen a few times with Knights, even a couple of years ago when Croatia had that amazing World Cup run that had some pretty sorry heads come Friday nights at Knight Stadium. So I did hear a few Dinamo chants in the beer garden on my way through here, and I'm sure it wasn't for St Albans, who, unfortunately for Knights fans, knocked them off last week.
That was probably Maxi Santich, St Albans supporter. That is crazy. That is. Steve, over to you.
He's actually down there already tonight too in the beer garden, so you might have come across him. Chris, thanks for your time, mate. We know you're busy getting ready for the match tonight. How do you see these two sides so far? Obviously, Hume City, a really good win that you were there at last week, and they're obviously pretty confident with their depth that they've loaned out Tommy Harris, I saw today, to Northcote City for the rest of the season, whereas the Knights, huge changes on and off the field with Steve Bebic coming in, some good players as well. How do you see the two sides matched? How are they matched tonight?
I think it's going to be a very attacking game tonight. The Melbourne Knights like to press quite high this year under new manager Steve Bebic, and Hume City, they will push their fullbacks really high. They will get a lot of overlaps, but if they do make those mistakes in midfield from that high press, they can leave themselves in a bit of trouble. With this Nick Hegarty style of football, though, they've been pretty good at protecting the ball. They're a side that's not afraid to play that long ball if they do get into trouble. But two sides, fairly good form. Melbourne Knights, I was pretty impressed with them in their pre-season. Started the season fantastically with wins over Port Melbourne and then home against Dandenong Thunder. Again, disappointed to lose late against St Albans. But Hume City started a little bit slowly, especially not having that creativity with Stephen Hewitt. They've had to find a way to break down sides. And last weekend, they used James Brown in that number 10 position, and he was fantastic. So Hume City, a couple of draws to start the season. A good come-from-behind win against Dandenong City last week. And you did mention Thomas Harris, who I'm a big fan of. He's going to go to Northcote and play NPL2, which is great for him. You look at the depth of Hume City. Marco Delic come off the bench last weekend, and Mitch Cooper is, I haven't been able to check the team sheets yet, but he'd be pretty close to being in the first team. If not, he might play in the under-21s tomorrow.
Fantastic. And just looking behind you, you're sat in the very nice plush media box there at Knight Stadium.
Best in the league.
It is one of the iconic stadiums here in Melbourne, in Victoria. How's the pitch looking at this, Chris? Because it does come in for some criticism quite a bit. How is it looking?
The pitch looks fantastic. It's probably the grass is slightly bit longer than normal here, and it's a bit fluffy, the surface. But it should be able to play pretty well. Probably not as quick as they would have liked the ball to be played, but it's going to be very true. It's, I think COVID, having that year off was great for the Melbourne Knights to sort of replace sections of the pitch, get it up to scratch, because as you've said, it has been a problem in the past, particularly when you get to winter. So another thing that they've tried to do is the under-21s play the day after, and they start the Friday night fixtures a little bit earlier at 7:30.
Now the conditions are going to be ideal for the fans, so expecting a big crowd down there. You mentioned the beer garden and the club rooms, but already is there a lot of people starting to build up? And like I said, the air of anticipation must be quite exciting. But we're expecting a great atmosphere to go along with the game tonight.
Oh, definitely. Melbourne Knights, they've got quite a solid active support that normally camp under me at the media tower here. So they should be in full voice. I've got the effects mic ready to go for the live stream. So that could be a little bit dangerous sometimes, but it'll definitely add to the atmosphere. Hume City have started an active support last year, so I'm not sure if they're going to be travelling tonight. I hope they do, and it just further adds to that atmosphere. Expecting probably a crowd around 1,500, I think, tonight. It was over 2,000, I believe, for the Thunder game. But Melbourne Knights, Hume City don't normally have a huge travelling contingent. But still 1,500 here is going to sound fantastic.
Well, no excuse, because I'm hearing during the week there was talk that particularly AFL circles down here in Geelong at community level, clubs could have crowds of up to 5,000. And they would not have to fill out any particular major event thing or whatever. I'm sure that even though we do live in Victoria, the state of AFL football, it's not one rule for one sport and another rule for another. So, folks, we can have up to 5,000 people flood Knight Stadium, no problems. We're expecting a big crowd. We're expecting a great call, Chris, and all the very best to you. And make sure you don't get your co-commentator, Josip Herzog, too excited. Especially if the Knights start scoring a few Dinamo Zagreb-inspired goals tonight.
Yeah, of course. It should set up a fantastic game. Thanks for letting me join you on tonight's program, and all the best for the rest of the show.
And finally,
great call, Chris, and thanks, pal.
And for those that have just come down in the last year, how can they tune into the stream tonight?
That's it. If you can't get to Knight Stadium tonight, the NPL Victoria YouTube and Facebook pages is where you catch all the action. If you've got a smart TV, it's great to have the YouTube up there on the big screen, and it's just like watching any other game of football. So it's a great setup if you can't get to the game, and with 5 games on tonight, it should be quite entertaining.
We'll let you go, Chris, to prepare for tonight's blockbuster. Thank you once again for taking some time out. Wishing you a great call for tonight's match, Melbourne Knights versus Hume City at Knight Stadium.
No worries. Thanks, gents.
Thanks, Chris.
We forgot to ask him if he's going to be on any reality TV show, but nonetheless,
that was my next question.
That was the next question, yeah. Gents, we're going to take a quick break. We've got Paul Donnelly, I think, on the line from Yarraville Glory as well. He is itching to get on. We're going to have, once again, like I said, a quick break, chance for everyone to take a nice, big, deep breather. We've got a lot to get through, and we haven't got much time. So, folks, don't go away.
Guzman Finance.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's great to have you on board here for episode 51. Big shout out to our episode sponsor, Guzman Finance, 0425 826 055. Now, Paul is ready to join us. He's going to be joining us very, very shortly. But before he does that, we're going to quickly get into the State League One fixtures. Steve, over to you, mate. Let's read the State League fixtures out for round one.
All right, mate. Yeah, very excited. State League One kicking off 3 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll go through those fixtures. Banyule City versus Yarraville Glory. We'll speak more about them in just a moment. That's at Yallambee Park Reserve. Also, Brimbank Stallions, they're hosting Essendon Royals. That should be an interesting fixture as well at the Club Italia there, home of Brimbank. That's a ground that seems to improve every time you drive past it on the ring road there. Keilor Park, they're hosting Fitzroy City at the Keilor Park Reserve. Caroline Springs, George Cross, they're at home to Sydenham Park at City Vista. That game kicks off at 5 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock, Altona City hosting the Geelong-based outfit Karai. That's at Kim Reserve. On Sunday, Clifton Hill will host Whittlesea United at the Quarries Park there, tucked away there in Clifton Hill.
Now, James, we've got Paul Donnelly on the line from Yarraville Glory. Paul, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
How you doing, fellas? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely fantastic. Yep. Craig, over to you.
Good evening, Paul. Thanks for joining us in a visual. I know it's you'd like to hide there out in the behind everything, but it's great to see that lovely smiling face of yours. So obviously the big kickoff tomorrow, Paul. It's been a long time coming, mate, for everybody in football. How have you guys at Yarraville been preparing for the big kickoff, and have you brought any new players in that's going to help obviously help you with a good start to the season?
Look, we've concentrated on keeping what we had already. So Lucas is our third or fourth year in charge, including last year. Obviously, we didn't kick a ball, so we've focused on making sure that keeping the squad together and having that continuity of playing staff. So we've only added probably 2 or 3 players to the squad at this stage, and fingers crossed that works for us.
Paul, Steve Curtin here. Thanks again for joining us tonight on your Friday night. Who do you see as being the big threats in State League One this season? Obviously, a difficult league, some pretty strong teams always in that competition. Who are the big dangers this year?
Oh, it's a cracking league this year, no doubt about it. I reckon it's probably one of the strongest divisions going around. But obviously, George Cross, Caroline Springs, George Cross is going to be up there. Sydenham are always challenging. Banyule, I think, are very strong, and obviously that's who we've got tomorrow. Essendon Royals are another one banging on the door. I've heard things about Brimbank and Altona City. They've strengthened their squad as well. So I feel sort of disrespectful for not mentioning other teams there, but it's just a strong league.
Well, you could have mentioned the other. You virtually mentioned the whole league there. But Steve, that was the question I was going to ask. You beat me to it.
Sorry, Tonci.
All good. Paul. I know. At the start of the season, you always say, as a coach, you want the best for possible achievement at season's end. But have you kind of set your squad a target where you want to finish? Is it promotion? Be all and end all? Is that? I mean, that's what everyone says. But realistically, or I guess what is your ambition for this year? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we would love to win it. Everyone would, but we have to be realistic down at Yarraville as well. But sometimes we're punching above our weight. But the guys are great. The squad's really good, and the dressing room's fantastic. So look, we've got top 4 as a realistic goal, and if we can get in there, it'd be fantastic. So that's our goal. But all the teams I just mentioned there, and only having one promotion position, it makes it very difficult. So you have to be on song for the full season and have the depth and the quality of player.
And you talk there. You've got Banyule tomorrow, who some people's dark horses for a real good push in the league this year. They've sort of not done a great deal. They keep themselves to themselves, but they seem to be the people's dark horses. The last time you played them, you in 2019, you drew both games. You 0-0 at home and 1 all away. So I've done my bit of research on you. What's going to change? How is this game going to be different to the two that you've played previously with them?
Look, I've got this 0-0 written all over it. I think, Barnewall's been, the scoring goals, their attacking side. We've tweaked a few things this season as well to be more attacking too. So I'm expecting goals tomorrow. It's always hard to go down to Barnewall, and obviously because we've missed the year, it's hard to judge sort of where everyone's at. They've had a really strong pre-season, and we've sort of done okay as well. Look, if we go down there, snatch a point, I think that's a real good start for us, to be honest.
And you talked just now, you talked about the changing rooms. You've got a good changing rooms and a good group of players. That's half a battle, isn't it? You've got a group of players that will fight for one another, and they're good around each other, and they get each other going. That's going to give you 6 points throughout the season. So you've certainly got that.
Yeah, definitely. Look, they're a good bunch of boys. They're all friends. They do everything together. So we've worked on that. And then sometimes players have come in and we've realised the good players and that they're not a match for the squad. So we don't want to damage that. So anyone that comes in, they really need to fit in as well. It's culture. The changing rooms are very big for us.
Okay, now Paul, it'd be remiss not to mention Andrew Taylor and his
big rest.
And his smarts. Do you foresee his intellect and intelligence getting you through in the heart of the defence this season?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've already got a trophy under our belt.
How can we forget? Hotheads! IQ, football IQ.
Mr. Taylor walks around the changing room being a smart one. So
that was a great substitution, by the way.
Yeah, we were not first round if it was me. So yeah, there you go, coaching and players. Yeah.
Great stuff. Paul, thank you very much for joining us. It is going to be the toughest division to get out of. Is it 1 or 2 that are promoted? Just the top team?
Yeah, just the top team.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very, very tough division indeed. Wishing you all the very, very best, and we're certainly going to be watching State 1 League football this year with a lot of interest. So wishing you once again all the very best for season 2021, mate.
Beauty. Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work. And I wish everyone tomorrow all the best for round 1 as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Legend.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul Donnelly from Yarraville Glory. What that was fantastic. A real good sportsmanship. And at the end of the day, gents, it's all about the football's back. Yes, we're going to be all competitive, but mate, it's just great to have the sport back on so many levels. Now, Craig, I think we've got our next guest up. We're going to talk State 2 football. Before we bring our next guest, shall we go through some of the fixtures? This is going to be quite an interesting division as well for many, many other reasons as well. But let's go through some of those results or fixtures. I'm talking results.
Yeah, just before we go on to that, Tonci, and we move away from State League 1. For those that haven't seen it, there was a post put up today from Corio Soccer Club regarding Matt Plivin, who unfortunately suffered a freak accident where he blocked a ball with the tip of his foot and unfortunately ruptured his ACL, MCL and PCL and will probably miss 2 to 3 seasons of football. So, Matt, from all of us in the football fraternity, mate, get well soon. Make sure you get it right. It's an awful injury. I don't wish you to sound dismissive of it. It's a horrible injury, and get well soon, mate, from everybody involved in football out west and the Victorian football community.
Absolutely, devastating blow to the player, devastating blow to the club, and we've got one of our regulars on the show, Santino Mamone, who is a die-hard Corio Soccer Club supporter. So I reiterate everything that Craig said there. Steve, let's go through the fixtures, the round 1 fixtures, starting with the Laylaw United versus Altona East Phoenix clash at HR Urine Reserve.
Yeah, thanks, Tonci. So back to the traditional time slot here for State League 2 and 3 o'clock. Laylaw United, they're hosting Altona East Phoenix at that venue. As you mentioned there, HR Uren Reserve. Also at 3 o'clock, it is Mill Park, fresh off their win against the Deakin Ducks in the FFA Cup last weekend. They're hosting the Croatian outfit, FC Strathmore, at Partridge Street Reserve. Also at 3 o'clock, Moreland United hosting Long Rangers at Moomba Park. They're just on the edge of the Merry Creek. Also at 3 o'clock, Western Suburbs, they're hosting Epping City at Ralph Reserve. And then the big occasion, the first ever night match at Hoppers Crossing at the Grange Reserve. Hoppers Crossing hosting Westgate. Can't wait for that one. And 7:10, that's like a TV kickoff time almost, isn't it? Hume United. Hume United hosting Albion Rovers at Laura Douglas Reserve. That's a difficult venue to go and get points from as well. So, yeah, can't wait for the State 2 fixtures coming up, guys.
But look, it's a just looking at those. I'm struggling to pick a winner out of that lot. If I'm honest, there's some good teams in there. Laylaw are going to be strong. Strathmore are always going to be strong. Moreland United with a lot of good, talented players up there, and of course, Hoppers Crossing, our very own Hoppers Crossing, are going to be up there as well. So, who's your pick for that league, guys?
Oh, tough one. But because our next guest hails from Hoppers Crossing, I'm going to say Hoppers Crossing.
I'm going to go sentimental and say Hoppers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great segue onto our next guest who does join us now. And there has been a lot of news happening off the field at Grange Reserve. Rocco Giovanniello from Hoppers Crossing joins us on the line there, and we can see him on his beautiful face there as well. Rocco, welcome to the Football Out West show. Mate, like I said, there's a lot of news been happening in the at Grange Reserve. Let's talk about some of the positive stuff, and that is the lights. So this is going to be the first game that Hoppers Crossing plays for competition points under lights at Grange Reserve. Mate, what is being planned there? Big day of celebrating. Tell us.
Yeah, look, it has, and thanks very much for having me on, guys. Look, I've only been there a couple of weeks, so it's
we'll get onto that a bit later on. There's a reason for that.
In terms of the lights, look, the Hoppers Crossing Committee have been working really hard behind the scenes and lobbying for lights for quite a while now. So thanks to the local MP, Sarah Connolly, and Wyndham City Council, they've invested in football in the community. So it's just great to see football in Hoppers Crossing now under lights.
Very good, Rocco. I can't wait to see how it goes under lights. The anticipation is palpating here. Now, speaking of anticipation and excitement, HCFC TV there with Brenton Ray doing his player interviews this week. They are such a feature of the boys from the Grange Reserve. I saw Smarty getting interviewed last night and hearing that he's got the captain's armband for this season. Good to see him still going around. He's about the only guy still going from when I was there many years ago. Tell us about the players that they've been able to bring into the squad to improve the defence, the attack this season in that State 2 competition.
Yeah, so look, I've only been there a couple of weeks now. So Sean Barbara, who's been there for the last 4 or 5 years, has taken a group core of players over the last 4 or 5 years. So similar to what Paul said just before, at Yarraville, they've got a really good culture at Hoppers. So a really good group of core players there that I think will hopefully take Hoppers Crossing to a promotion this year. In terms of new players, look, we've got a few new players there, a couple of new centre-backs, Will and Ben, who have come over, who have got experience at different levels. We've got a Japanese player, Day, whose international clearance hasn't cleared in time for this week, but we're waiting on that. And then all the rest of the players are pretty much all Hoppers players that have been there for the last few years.
Yeah, no, we obviously know that, or personally, I know that they're a very, very tight group and a very, very well organised and run football club. Brenton Ray has been banging on about these bloody lights for about 2 years, so he must be jumping up and down. Like, he'll be on the first bus from Lara tomorrow morning about 6 o'clock, and he'll be pounding up and down Grange Reserve. But just touch on obviously your move, and there's a great comment then from Paul Donnelly that's come up as Rocco legend. Obviously, you spent a number of years with Paul at Yarraville. but obviously an opportunity has arisen for you to come over to Hoppers Crossing. Do you want to talk to, or let the public? Is it? Are we allowed to talk about that? Or
yeah, look. So it's been a whirlwind couple of weeks. So look, I was planning for another season at Yarraville with Paul, and then an opportunity came up with Hoppers where their coach Sean needed to have major back surgery after round one. So they needed someone to step in, and it was just a great opportunity for me to cut my teeth in at a great club who's going for promotion. And look, I'm lucky that I know a few of the people there as well, but it'll take me a little bit of time to get to know the players on a more personal level. But look, I'm excited to be at Hoppers and looking for a really positive season ahead.
Well, it's a great club, and like I said, there's a great camaraderie there at the club. Players that have been there. Smart, who's been there for forever. The whole Smart family have been there. They're a very tight knit group. So we're certainly looking forward to Hoppers pulling up a full few trees this year, and hopefully getting back into State League One, where they haven't been for a couple of years. So it'll be that's where they need to be. So it'll be great to see how they get on throughout the season.
Now,
yeah, that's right.
Sorry, Rocco, I was going to say there's also some late-breaking news that it's going to be a big day tomorrow, in the sense that State League 5 fixture between West Point and Barwon, which was originally, I think, scheduled for Tom Roberts Reserve, has actually been moved to Grange Reserve, if I'm not mistaken, early in the day. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So,
Righto.
look, it's about just helping out neighbouring clubs as well.
Yeah.
Some clubs are in the unfortunate situation where they've got cricket as their sharing their grounds. So Hoppers is happy enough to lend their ground to neighbouring teams, which is great.
That's fantastic news. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's no excuse not to get out to Grange Reserve tomorrow. 25, 26 degree weather, some fantastic football on display, and then the lights. Oh, mate, can it get any better than that? We wish you, mate, all the very best, not just for tomorrow night, but for the season ahead. And who knows, you might be coaching Hoppers Crossing against Yarraville Glory next season in State 1.
Let's hope so. That'd be great.
Absolutely. All right. Wishing you all the best. That was Rocco Giovannioli.
Thanks, Rocco.
From the Hoppers Crossing Football Club. Steve, tell us a little bit about your experiences there at Hoppers Crossing many, many years ago. I didn't know that about you.
Yes, going back a while. Actually, I'm wearing the colours of their away kit now. Yeah, I played there just in the Resis back in 2007. I had a great time. Met some, lifelong friends there, and ended up hurting my Achilles in the preseason the following year, and ended up getting asked to coach the Resis by Joey Valla, who was the senior coach back then. I had a great time. I was basically a youngster myself back then, coaching the reserves and sitting on the bench with Joey and the seniors. And he would get pretty animated sometimes. And that was always entertaining. And a lot of good people around the club there back then and still now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good club. It's a good club. There's good people there.
Okay, we're going to straight away jump over to State 3, gents. Steve, let's go through the State 3 fixtures. And then we're going to have a special guest on from, I believe it's Sunbury United. But Steve, over to you with the fixtures.
That's right, Tonci. That game at Sunbury United under lights at Langama Park there against Essendon United. That's kicking off at 8:30. So more on that in a moment. Other matches in the 3 o'clock kickoff times tomorrow. Craigieburn City hosting Upfield at Ashton Fields. Point Cook Jets, Craig's old team there. They're hosting Williamstown there at Saltwater Reserve at Point Cook. Sebastopol Vikings up at Ballarat. They're hosting the Heidelberg Eagles at the St. George's Reserve in Ballarat. Westvale will host Western Eagles at McKenney Reserve. And a Monday night fixture in State League 3. Who would have anticipated that? Faulkner. They are going to host Altona North. That one also at CB Smith Reserve in Faulkner, guys.
Yeah, Faulkner play all their games on a Monday evening, Steve. For whatever reason, I think it's just the use of CB Smith Reserve that gets a lot of football played on it over the weekend. So
makes sense.
They play all the game.
And it's a fantastic facility as well. Now, Craig, you know this division really well. So before we get our guest on from Sunbury United, Lino Gresh, tell us a bit about State 3 and who you think will be the teams to watch out for in 2021.
Yeah, Tonci, it's always a very competitive league. There's always a team that you think is going to do well, but falls by the wayside, and you think there's always somebody there that perhaps you don't think is going to do so well that comes alive. There's some good teams in there. You look at Sunbury United. They've been there or thereabouts for a few years now. A bit of a fall from grace from them from when they were in State League 1 down to State League 3, but they've got facilities and Lino and a group of young kids that's going to really push this year. I think Williamstown will be strong. They're always there. He puts a good squad together every year. Sebastopol Vikings. They've now got Corey Smith back at the club. Corey Smith got them promoted in 2018, I think it was, into State League 3 from 4. He had a bit of a spell at George Cross, but is now back at Sebastopol Vikings, and I'm sure he'll have their club organised. Western Eagles, look, they're going to be my surprise package this year, I think. They've invested. They've got a fantastic coach. They're probably going to be my dark horse for State League 3. But I'm also going to say that my old club, Point Cook Jets, are going to do quite well this year. They had a tough 2019 season and 2018 season, but they've got a lot of the old players back from our championship winning squads, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them have a good season. So wish everybody at the club all the best, and to Ben, to my old assistant who's now the head coach there, to have a great year.
Well, there we go. It's all about tonight's big game, though. That should be a fantastic one at Sunbury United. And we're on the line direct from the Sunbury United's ground, Lino Gresh, the Sunbury United coach. Lino, welcome to the Football Out West show.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Now, it's we've just heard from Craig, and he's given us a really good analysis of State League 3 and who he feels will be the teams to watch, having coached in that division for several years with Point Cook. But, mate, let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Who do you think is going to be Sunbury United's greatest rivals for the title?
Yeah, there's a couple of teams. Like Craig said, there'll be Sebastopol. Williamstown's always there. Even Upfield. Yep. I think they'll do well. Yeah, it's a very hard league to get out of. There's got to be a few good teams in.
Lino, Steve Curtin here.
How you going, Steve? Something's gone wrong.
No, I think Steve's frozen
behind you. Oh, sorry, I froze.
You froze. Repeat that question, Steve.
Am I back? Yep. Sorry. Sorry, Lino. Thanks again for joining us. And
no worries, mate.
It looks an absolute picture in the background there. Can you tell us a bit about what people can expect if they're going out to Sunbury to experience some Friday night football at that venue, for those of us who are a bit further away, perhaps?
Well, it's the first time, in Sunbury's history, that we're playing under lights for points, and the facilities is fantastic. We get new dressing rooms and good meals as well. The ground is fantastic, and it's a really good atmosphere.
So it's the place to be on Friday nights.
Correct, mate. Correct.
So, all right, it's Lino, Craig here, mate. How are you?
Good, buddy. Good, Craig. How are you going?
Good. We've had our tussles down the years, and a lot of it, a lot of it in good jest on the touchlines.
Good, buddy. Yeah, that's true.
It is a good club. Fantastic facilities there. Is the plan for all your home games to be played on Friday nights this year? And if so, what's the reason behind that?
Yeah, correct, Craig. We've got a few players that they actually work on Saturdays and that. So we thought, it'll be great to play on a Friday night and they can earn a bit of cash, you know what I mean? And it's good for the club, you know what I mean? We've got every Friday we've got the members' night, and hopefully we get more crowd. They come for a meal, watch a bit of soccer, and then they go home. And they got the weekend free. So that's the idea. We're playing Friday nights.
Well, we hope all the action is on the field, but have you got the smart TV set up so that they can tune into the NPL streams as well? We had Chris Gleason early on tonight telling us all about it.
Yeah, they'll be good. That'll be great.
Now, if you don't, I was going to say, make sure that Paul de Blasi organises one big one there. Paul is obviously one of our great sponsors with the Sunbury Indoor Elite Sports, but he's also heavily involved with the club there, Sunbury United. And tell us about some of the other people that are involved behind the scenes there.
Well, we got Greg, Greg Chepnick. He's our president. Yep. Right? We got Charlie. Darcy, the guy who's actually holding the phone. He's
doing a great job, by the way.
Well done, Darcy.
Yeah,
he's better than the cameraman of St Albans and Melbourne Knights last week, folks. That was a shock.
At least I think he's holding it steady, so that is good. The thing is, he hasn't had a beer yet. That's why. No, there's a lot of good people up here. You can't even name them all. There's great people. Everybody chips in, which is good. But we can always, need more help and all that, which is, every club needs help. Without volunteers, we can't get anywhere. So it'll be good.
Now, just talk us through your squad for this year, Lena. Have you managed to bring some players in that's going to give you that little bit of a push towards winning or being up there for title contention this year?
Yeah, we got Ashley Webster from Brimbank. He was the top goal scorer, I think, 2 years in a row with Brimbank in the first division. We brought him down. We got our centre back, Nathan Long. He from Albion Rovers. He'll add, a bit more steady at the back for the young guys, because we've got a lot of young kids, as you know, Craig. Mm-hmm. Which is these guys, they'll help the guys at the back and up front, and pretty much the whole squad from last year and the year before. They're all pretty much back. And we've got Adrian Talio from Melbourne Knights. He was in and out for Melbourne Knights, and we've got him as well. And we've got his brother JT, which is, we've got a good squad. We've got a lot of injuries at the moment. We've got eight injured. It's little niggly, a little bit of a hamstring here, a little bit of calf and things like that. It's hard, but I suppose.
Yeah, look, I mentioned that earlier on to one of our guests, Vaughan Coveney, about soft tissue injuries, and
correct, yeah.
It's with the boys not having played a lot of football, that's going to happen over the first couple of weeks, I believe, and until everybody gets back to some kind of normality. But Steve, you've got a final question for Lino, and then we can let him go and do his team talk, ready for the big game.
Yeah, thanks, Lino. Hopefully those players are back out on the park very soon. But just one more quick question from me: how manic is it when you have to coach against Craig Filer? Like, is there anything else quite like it?
No, it's
question of the night.
It's a battle because I think we've got the same temper, but it's all on the park. After the game, but we always go for a drink and all that. He's a good man.
Yeah, we've had our running battles, but it's always ended in a handshake. And
correct.
The best team always wins.
I think Lino wants to be invited back on the show. That's why he's being so nice. We might have to get you back on the show so you can tell us the true stories that happened on the touchline.
Yeah, well, you'll find out a little bit more about that Tonci throughout the season. We are going to go to Sunbury and do a live commentary of one of the Friday night games throughout the season, so you'll be able to get Lino on live on air, and he can tell you to your face.
Or maybe off air as well. Maybe Craig.
Or off air, even better. And exactly. And Chris, who's doing the camera work, he can have a few beers and then not worry about the camera work as well.
No worries. I'll tell him that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lena. All the very best for not just tonight. I keep saying this, but for season 2021, it is great to have community grassroots football back where it belongs.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks,
mate. All the best.
Thanks, Leno.
Thank you. Bye.
There we go. That was Lino Gresh from Sunbury United. Geez, it was great to have him on board. It was great to have all of our guests. That is it for our guests tonight. And now we're going to take a little bit of a break, gents. When we return, we're going to go straight into the State 4 and State 5 fixtures. but a couple of ads from some of our sponsors. Don't go away, folks.
Hands for Hire is a free platform that connects people looking for more work in their downtime, and also businesses who want to list jobs on a casual basis. Are you finding that you have spare time and could actually be earning extra money? Or do you need a hand on a casual basis and don't want to employ a full-time worker? Hands for Hire is the app to help you fill that time yourself without paying huge fees to recruiting agents or labour hire companies. Signing up is completely free, without any obligation.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, a baptism, communion or confirmation? Whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton. Are you opening a new business or want to improve your current exposure to drive more customers? Then talk to our team at Principal Signs. We have over 30 years' experience of helping businesses like yours stand out from the crowd. We can design, manufacture and install a range of signs, either permanent or temporary, at an affordable price without compromising on quality. A signage supplier with a reliable reputation. You can trust the team at Principal Signs to ensure that you make the best decision for your business and your budget. We are passionate about giving you a standout experience in customer service and ensure that we exceed your expectations every time. For more information, find us on Facebook or check out our testimonials and work examples on www.principalsigns.com.au or call Ray on 0406 728873 for a quote. Mention this ad for a 10% discount off your first order.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It is episode 51. Gosh, what an epic episode. Normally, like last week, 2 weeks ago, we had an episode 50, and that was big from the George Cross Football Club. But Craig, tonight's been just as bigger, has been bigger, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've had a lot more guests on. Apart from the little mishap at the beginning, it's actually worked out very well for us. And as we said, this is the platform that we want to do every week. We want to get clubs on, talking to their coaches, talking to players, and really get people geared up and ready for the weekend's football.
Okay, gents, we've only got State 4 and State 5 to get through. We have been going almost for an hour and a half. People are keen to jump off and do whatever they got to do on a Friday night. So we'll go through these very, very quickly. Steve, let's go through the State 4 fixtures. Let's have a read through them.
Yeah, some good ones here, mate. Plenty of Geelong clubs in here. Bell Park hosting Melbourne City of Spotswood, that is, at Bell Park Sports Club tomorrow at 3. All these games at 3 o'clock, in fact. Gisborne, they're hosting Barnstonworth United up at Dixon Field there in Gisborne. Golden Plains out at Bannockburn, they're hosting Melbourne University. Spring Hills, they are hosting North Melbourne Athletic. That's one of the great names going around. Surf Coast, they're hosting Laverton FC. And Surf Coast we profiled on the Geelong show on Monday night. And finally, Truganina Hornets, they're hosting Westside Strikers Caroline Springs at Ardnall Reserve. That is the wrap for State 4 West, guys.
Craig, over to you. Quickly, your thoughts on which teams to look out for in 2021.
Yeah, is that the Geelong District League or?
Oh no, the next one after that is.
Yeah. Look, there's some good teams in there. Barnstonworth will be worth a look at. But my tip for that one, fingers crossed, they finally get it, is Surf Coast. They've been there or thereabouts for 4, 5, 6 years. Been in the top 3 or 4, just missing out on a number of times, and I really hope that Surf Coast can go one better this year and get their much deserved promotion.
They had as we saw, Steve, on Monday night, they did have a change of leadership at the very top. Steve Christou, the legendary president, had a unfortunate accident in the off-season, and he's, because of his recovery, he's stepped down. Mariella Pocklington, the first ever female president at Surf Coast, she's taken the helm. Well known and very well popular is Mars down at Banyulwarri Reserve. But Milton Bailey, an exciting young prospect who I think is only 17 or 18. Last season was meant to play at Barwon after having a sterling season at Surf Coast the year before. He's back at Banyulwarri Reserve. Surely, yeah. So that's big news. That would surely boost Surf Coast's chances of promotion.
Yeah, look, as I said, they've been there or thereabouts for a number of years. Milton is a young, keen, eager footballer. He certainly knows where the goal is. If he can maybe curb his enthusiasm a little bit, I think there's a fantastic footballer in the making there. So Surf Coast would be my tip for the State League 4 West this year, Tonci.
Mine as well. I'm tipping Surf Coast, although I reckon there's a couple of teams there that give them a good run for their money. Truganina Hornets, Spring Hills, always two very difficult sides as well. Steve, your tip?
Yeah, I think Surf Coast with Milton Bailey back in the squad there, Rob Panetta at the helm. They've got Nathan Munoz in midfield, who's apparently significantly bulked up in the off-season, so he's going to exert his muscle around the park there for Surf Coast. They should go all right and be in the top two.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, State 5, the final one. This is the Geelong and District League, Craig. But Steve, over to you. Out of the 12 teams, 4 are from Geelong, if you don't count the clubs from around the Wyndham area.
Fantastic. Just keeping it close to home for me and Tonci here.
Yep.
Keilor Wolves, they're hosting the new side in State 5, Surfside Waves of Ocean Grove. That match is on the back pitch there at Green and Gully Reserve tomorrow. At 3, also at 3 o'clock tomorrow, Lara United, they're hosting Maribyrnong Greens at the Lara Rec Reserve. West Point are hosting Barwon Soccer Club at Tom Roberts.
No, that's the game at Grange Reserve. That was
yes, that's the one that's been shifted to, and that's an earlier start time of 3 o'clock for the seniors and 12 for the resis. 5:30 sees Deakin University Ducks hosting Melton Phoenix there on the field at Deakin University. Deakin, they've had a good run in the FFA Cup until they were knocked out last weekend. And at 7 o'clock, Ballarat, they're hosting Balmoral at Tricado Park. And
that's just been changed as well, Steve. So that's now going to be played at Moores Head Park at Ballarat. Thanks
there
to
you
Brent
go.
and Ray.
There you go. Thank you, Rayman. And there's a postponed fixture in there. Wyndham United and Maidstone is postponed until the Queen's birthday weekend, the old catch-up round, as they call it.
A very ominous sign, gents, there. Deakin University Ducks defeating State League 3 side Bayside Argonauts in the recent FFA Cup. To defeat a team in a division just above you is quite epic to sort of put it into perspective. But to defeat a team 2 divisions above, Craig, surely that must add a bit of weight to the Ducks there, and they've always been a team that's gone up, near the top. But between them and Barwon, you'd expect a lot of interest for that fight for the top spot, because Barwon, a good friend of our show, Dale Harris, is the coach there. He's recruited rather heavily, hasn't he?
He has. I think there's 3 teams in the running for this one. I think you've got Deakin Ducks, as you mentioned, who as you said, had a fantastic result in the FFA Cup. Barwon, who are going to be strong. We played them in pre-season, and they're a very well organised side and a bit of experience in there. But you've also got Melton Phoenix, who I also think will be up there this year. Darren Trainer, who's a friend of the show, has invested in some players there, and I think they'll be up there. So between Deakin Ducks, Melton Phoenix, and Barwon, they're my tips for the top of State League 3, 5 even.
And Steve, great to see that there's a lot of off-field activity happening as far as facility improvements. I know Barwon's got new change rooms. Melton Phoenix, I do believe they're about to not getting their club rooms, get new rooms. And I know at Lara United, they've also got not only new fences, but they're going to have also floodlights as well. So lots of good things happening that I'm aware of in that division, and there may well be some other. But down at Surfside Waves, they've got a pretty good facility, also capable of playing night games. So they're going to be a valuable addition to State 5, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. And we saw Surfside Waves. They did pretty well in the FFA Cup too, getting a couple of wins there to kick off their new campaign, State League 5 club rather than just a Geelong community club. So they might get some momentum out of that as well and get a good start to the season. Barwon should be the bookies' favourites in this league, but dark horse there is the Deakin Ducks. They will go pretty well, and I look forward to hopefully you can get along to the derby between Barwon and Deakin. That'll go all right, that match.
Well, I'm sure it will. Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. What an epic show we've had tonight. It's been thoroughly enjoyable previewing the season that is. We'll have to do something similar when the Women's League kicks off in mid-April as well. Absolutely. But get out. There's no excuse. The weather is going to be absolutely stunning. So wherever you may be this weekend, Craig, you'll be down at Elko Park. Steve, any choice where you might be this week?
Top secret at the moment. It could be revealed on Monday night on the Geelong Region show. It's 7 o'clock. Don't miss it.
Looking forward to it. That's right, 7 o'clock on Monday night on this Facebook page, but also on the Geelong Region Soccer News Facebook page. Hopefully I'll be out and about and we'll be able to get some footage of some of the games played on the weekend. Gents, have a great weekend, and thank you for your input tonight.
Thanks, Tonci. Thanks, Craig. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Great work, all.
And you've been watching the Football Hour Show, episode 51. Big shout out to our episode sponsor today, and that was Guzman Finance, and also to our major sponsor, George Cross Football Club. Until next Friday night, good night and have a great weekend.